What's up, lads? In this video, I'm going to try and go over and outline every single point that you need to know, regardless of how much you actually watched World Cup qualifying thus far. I'm going to try and go over every single point that you need to know going into the final games and the United States' game against Mexico. So leading into the United States versus Mexico, it's going to be an away game. We're going to actually be playing in Azteca, and it's going to be in 2 days. It'll be Thursday, March 24th, 9 p.m. Central, and it's going to be one of the biggest games the United States will play for qualifying. Tone setters for these final 3 games here that the United States is going to play. So both the United States and Mexico will be competing for points here, and both teams top of the table for CONCACAF qualifying to go to the World Cup, and both teams really need to win, so it's going to be an insanely awesome game, especially with the rivalry of the US versus Mexico. So starting it off just with some of the injuries that we actually have, you'll see this roster here that I just kind of drew out. This would be the current roster assuming everything with the selection and also no injuries. So this roster basically includes all the players that are injured, but then also all the players that have been selected on this roster right here for the March World Cup qualifying. This would be like my ideal roster if nobody was injured, right? So in this roster here, I just basically put a little marker right there next to every single starter that's injured right now. I can pull that tab up. So all of the injuries currently are going to be Weston McKennie in the midfield here. You're going to have Matt Turner, our goal, and then you'll have Serginho Dest, our right back, and then also Brendan Aronson, who's probably one of the most impactful substitutes we have, and then I would also even put him in the starting roster sometimes. I think that he's one of the most pivotal players that the U.S. has, able to change the game completely. But we're missing all 4 of those players. Insanely big players to be missing, especially in this leg of qualifying, where these are very important games. These are almost must-win games, or at least must-tie games. So what I'll be doing is I'm going to say who I would replace these guys with, and then maybe a little bit of tactics, stuff like that, but we'll see. Now, starting with the easiest change, I'm going to have Zach Steffen in goal. I probably would have had him there anyway over Matt Turner, but either or could work, and even, honestly, Ethan Horvath has looked really good. He's going to be our other goalkeeper in this qualifying leg, and Ethan Horvath's looked really good recently in club football, or club soccer. I would say Zach Steffen or Horvath. Either one of those could work fine. That's going to be a game time decision, and Zach Steffen's probably a bit more experienced with the back line and also more experience with the team in general. So next up, we're going to have right back here, and I'm actually going to have Deandre Edlin in here. I will preface that with saying that I think that there's a lot of players that could slot in here. I think Deandre Edlin works well because of the experience, and given the rest of the back line that I assume it's going to be, this isn't the most internationally experienced team with our back line specifically, and I think that Deandre Edlin's had the most games and also probably already played the most with these players. I think the issue with putting somebody like Reggie Cannon in there is going to be another right back there. He plays internationally, obviously, and has had a decent form over the last recent bit of time. I think the main issue with that is just you're introducing more and more variables, and this is a game where you don't really want to be introducing that many variables. I think that I would honestly say that this is one position here, the specifically right back position. I think that's a perfect position if Berhalter wants to make a halftime sub, which I don't know if he ever will, but I think this would be a great position to do it, especially if it looks like Yedlin's getting beat over the top, or it looks like he's not connecting well with the midfield. I think Reggie Cannon would be a perfect sub for that specifically. Outside of that, I think the experience and everything that Edlin kind of brings, I think that will probably be one of the most valuable things in an already heated rivalry, especially from last time with the fighting and stuff that broke out. I think Edlin would be great for that. And lastly here on this roster, we're going to have the center midfielder here. And I know it's crazy, but I'm actually going to have Kellen Acosta. And I'm usually MLS hater. I mean, self-proclaimed. I don't really like the way that a lot of MLS players play. I think it's usually going to be a lot slower, and it's very, very penalizing on their first touch whenever they're playing slower and the rest of the team is trying to pick up the pace, especially when you have as many players as we do nowadays that are playing abroad. And I think that that's going to be a big drawback there. And this specifically is another one of those positions. They give you a lot of subs for a reason. You should be using your subs in a game like this. It is okay to make an early sub here. If this is not working out, Acosta right here, I think that's a perfect sub to make. I don't see why that you wouldn't want to sub him out for somebody that has probably looked a little bit better internationally, or I would even say like Bucio has had a great stint over in Italy, and then also Luca De La Torre. He's looked great recently. I think that I would honestly probably be putting De La Torre in this spot if it weren't for the fact that Acosta is really, really willing to get in people's face, and it's obviously Mexico, big rivalry game in Azteca, so you already have everything fueled just that much more, not even to mention the fact that this is going to be insanely, insanely valuable points, and we really need to get points here. And I think that Acosta is able to bring that physicality that we kind of need, especially with a team that's so young, and there's so many players on this team that already kind of maybe not lack that, but haven't really been in those rivalries and haven't really been in those situations where they're playing in Azteca, which is going to be completely different from most environments they play in. And I think that Acosta will bring that sort of physicality and also the ball distribution, assuming that his first touch is okay, or assuming that he doesn't take too long on the ball. If he's obviously slowing attacking play down, then I don't want him in there anymore. Sub him at halftime, sub him at 50 minutes, I don't care. Just please, dear God, do not wait until the 76th minute when we're down 1-0 in order to make one substitution. I want early substitutions. That's going to be one of the biggest deals here. And it's a big issue in this World Cup qualifying, is the amounts of substitutions. There's no drawback to using all of your substitutions. And there's no drawback to putting substitutions in at halftime. I think both of those things we haven't seen enough of, and I want to see a bit more of that, personally. Outside of that, that's more or less going to cap off the entire team there, and March 24th at 9 p.m. Central. It's 100% worth the watch. I'm going to be watching on twitch.tv, on my Twitch channel, and I'm just going to have like a timer up and basically be talking about the game, talking about the tactics, all that stuff. Other than that, that's probably going to do it. I just try to do this pretty quickly here, especially since I want to make it a little bit easier for people to watch, kind of get the gist, the rundown or whatever of sort of what's going on with the games. Outside of that, hope everybody has a great day. Hope everybody watches the game, and see you next time, guys.